So you want to be a Twitch streamer, but you don't know how to design your overlay. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to make a gradient to go around your face cam just like this one right here. Let's get right into it. Okay guys, to make this gradient, we're going to use Davinci Resolve 16. This is free software and I'll link it down in the description below so you can download and install it. Now once you have this downloaded and installed, it's going to open up like this and you're going to go down to the bottom and click New Project and title it whatever you want. I'm going to call mine Facecam Gradient 2 as I already have one made in a different database. And we're going to click Create. Now this may look overwhelming at first, but don't worry, I'll simplify it down for you very quickly. So the first thing we're going to go to is in the top left, we're going to click File and we're going to go to Project Settings. You can also click Shift 9 as it says here. Now we're going to check our timeline frame rate. It should be set to 30 frames per second and so should your playback frame rate. Now once you have that done, you're going to save your master settings and we're going to move to the Edit tab next. That's the third tab from the bottom left. Now the first thing you're going to check is that your effects library is open and you're going to open this toolbox right here and we're going to go to titles and you're going to look for in the first section you're going to look for text plus with the lightning bolt next to it. You're going to grab it and drag it over and it's going to make a video track in the edit. Now as you can see, that just made a big title in the middle of our screen. Don't worry about that. What you're going to do is open this inspector up here, go to Fusion, and right here you can get rid of all that text. This is just so we don't have to put a blank clip down below or somehow make a transparent clip and green screen it out. It's a lot easier to just take a text plus and make it transparent. The next thing we're going to do is click on our text plus clip and use your keyboard and type Control D. That'll let us change the clip duration. Now what you want is a 10-second clip. So we're going to change this from 5 seconds to 10 and click change. So now it's made it longer. So the first part is done and now we're going to move into the Fusion tab, which is where all the heavy lifting gets done. Now this tab takes a minute to load up as it has a lot of tools and segments to it. But the first thing you're going to make sure is this says edited. So what you're going to do is hit Control S and save your progress on this so that just in case it crashes or your computer dies on you, you don't lose any progress. Now this may look overwhelming, but don't worry, I'll simplify it down for you. Okay, so I realized that my face cam basically covered everything up, so we're gonna have to re-record this section, but it's all right. So once we are in Fusion here, what you're gonna make sure is opened is your nodes in this top left and also your inspector in the right. You can close the effects library that we opened earlier. We don't need that right now. So what this is going to start out as is it's going to look like this with a transparent background and there's going to be template with an arrow connected to media out. So what media out is exactly what it sounds like. It's what is being sent out to be rendered once we are rendering this. So what we're going to do is take this template, take the arrow, we're going to drop it out because we do not need this anymore. This was just to give us a node to media out. What we're going to do now is take this first box with like the halfway line and lines through it. We're going to drag it out and drop it. And we're going to make background 1. If you cannot find it, then you're just going to hit Control Space and type in background. And it'll show up right here. You can click it and hit Add. And it'll show up just the same. And what you're going to do is take this box and drag it over to the media out and connect it. And now we have background 1. So as you can see, it's a black solid background, which is not exactly what we want. So we're going to move over to the inspector side and change the type to a gradient background. And now you can see we have an across gradient from black to white, but depending on what you want, those are not the colors that we need. So what you're going to do is take this, click on the left arrow on the gradient, and you're going to pick the first color you want. So I'm just going to make mine a really nice bright red. Oh, not really bright, medium red. And then I'm going to click on this right arrow as well and that's the second color you want on the right side of the gradient. So we're just going to make ours blue. I will make this gradient available down in the description below. You can download it for free. So we're just going to make it a nice blue so that we have this little purple in the middle, which is nice looking. And now we have our gradient set up straight across. I'm going to kind of straighten that out a little to 0.5. We're going to make sure that's a straight line. So as you can see here, there's two sections that we're going to mess with right here. Start and end, which are these points right here. What this does is rotate the gradient around the edges for us. So what we're going to do at the beginning is make sure our frames are set to 0. You can just drag this red bar all the way back to 0. And what you're going to do is click this little diamond right next to start and end. Now what this is a keyframe. If you don't know what a keyframe is, don't worry. It's not required to know for this tutorial. But if you would like to know, what it basically does is it sets a waypoint for where the computer should place certain spots. So such as at 0 frames, the computer is gonna see that this is exactly how the screen should look at 0 frames, and that's what it's gonna have it set to. And since we want this to turn in constant motion smoothly, we're gonna split this into 4 parts. So it starts at the beginning with blue here, and then it's gonna cross to the top on the second part, to the left on the third, here on the bottom on the fourth, and back here at the end. So what we're going to do to achieve this is drag this red bar all the way over to 75. You can also type 75 out here and hit enter. Make sure the red bar is lined up correctly. And what we're going to do is take these squares right here. We're going to drag the right one all the way up to the top as best you can, and drag this left one all the way to the bottom as best you can. Try and make it line up through the circle center. And the easiest way to correct this to be perfectly straight is take these numbers, make it 0.50, 0.51. So this is the second keyframe at 75 frame. As you can see, it has automatically keyframed where it should be because it's noticed it's changed, which is exactly what we want. And then now what we're going to do is do the same thing but move to 150 frames. I'm going to drag this bottom one over again 90 degrees over back where this blue one was the first time. And right here, as you can see, it's 1.5. So I'm going to make this one 0.5 because I can't see it for some reason off the top of the screen. That's all right. And then we'll correct these ones as well, just to make it all even. And as you can see, now we've rotated this whole thing 180 degrees. So we're going to do this 2 more times to finish off the complete 360 degree rotation. Now we're going to move to 225 frames and move this left one down to the bottom. Try and make sure that the diamond lines line up. That usually helps make it as close to perfect as possible. Right here is this. And then now we can correct these to 0.5, 1, and 0.50. Okay, and finally, we're going to drag this all the way to the right to frame 299. And we're going to drag this all the way back to where it started with the blue. So as you can see, that's 0.5. So we're going to make this one 0.5 and correct these two. And as you can see, now we are done. If you scroll through your timeline, you can see Okay guys, as you saw right there, my app crashed. So that's why I don't recommend scrolling through here unless you have a GPU with at least 6 gigs of RAM, because down here, as you can see, it takes up a lot of RAM space when you're scrolling through trying to cache all of the frames. So what I would recommend is just check your keyframes one by one or near your keyframes, just to see if they line up as you want them to. And once you're satisfied with that, we're going to move on to adding a rectangle so that this is only a border and not a full screen. So how you're going to do that is go to the 4th tab right here in the middle and find the square shape and drag it out into your nodes. And again, if you can't find it, same thing as the background, hit Control Space, type in rectangle, and right there you can click and hit add and it'll show up. And what you're going to do with this is drag the box and attach it to the blue arrow on background. And as you can see, it encases our whole gradient. So what you want is an outer border, not an inside. So what we're going to do is go over to the inspector, and in our properties for our rectangle, hit invert so that it is now all outside the rectangle. Now from here, you can just adjust your left and right and top to bottom as you wish, just to play around with it a little, because if you downsize it to fit your face cam in OBS, the line is going to get thinner as you downscale. So you're just going to have to play around a little and find the settings that fit your camera size best. I'm just going to leave it here for the purposes of this video. I also do have the download link down below for the finished product that I have already made, so you can go check that out as well. But once you're satisfied with how these lines are spaced out, you can move on to the final tab down here at the bottom, which is the rocket, also known as the deliver tab. The way we're gonna output this to the render queue is by just picking the YouTube 1080p settings, and we're just gonna call it whatever we want. Face cam gradient. I'm just gonna call it red RB for red blue. And you're just gonna find somewhere to place it. I'm just gonna place it in my stream design. As you can see, I already have my old one, so I'm not gonna try and replace that. But here you can turn off, you can leave all of these as is and hit add to render queue. And once you're done, it'll show up here and you can hit start render, and then it'll automatically save it to the location that you specified. Okay, so once you're done with that, I'm going to show you guys how to get this overlay into your OBS. So the way you're going to do this is you're going to hit the plus sign down here, and you're going to add a media source right here, this play button. And you can name it whatever you want. I already have my old face cam overlay on, but I'm going to name this face cam gradient, I guess. We're going to hit OK, and you're going to make sure a loop is checked off right here so that it doesn't randomly stop in the middle during your stream. What you're going to do is hit browse. You're going to find where you saved it. I'm pretty sure I saved it somewhere in my videos, my stream design. Yep, here it is, red and blue face cam gradient. And it's not going to immediately show up for you. Maybe it might, but for me it does not. You're just going to hit OK, and there you go. It is popped up on your screen. You can see it's working its way around. It's doing its job. You can just make it as small as you need to and move it to where your face cam is. But there is a slight problem. As you can see, there is this black in the middle. The Davinci Resolve does not allow you to render transparent video that well, so I wouldn't recommend trying to. If you can figure it out, drop a comment down below on how you do it. But I have never figured out how to do transparent video. I use After Effects for that. But the way you can get rid of this black bar inside is going right-clicking on your gradient down here, clicking filters, adding a plus in effect filters, adding a color key. You can just leave the name whatever you want, and we're gonna click on key color type, go to custom color, select, and on the right you're just going to drag this all the way down the bar so that it's blackened out, and hit OK. What that's doing is just color keying out all this black and just making it transparent through OBS itself. Now that that's done, you're just going to hit close, and there you are. It'll show up, everything will show up right through it, and you can throw your face cam right underneath, and you can just lock the layer in place. Thank you guys for watching, and if you found this helpful, please consider dropping a like and subscribing for more content like this. I also stream on Twitch 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. EST, link down in the description below. If you have any questions, you can ask them there or in the comments below. And I'll see you guys later.